Welcome to the Skins in the Berg podcast. That's right, the Skins in the Berg podcast, your best source for Commanders commentary in the Carolinas and beyond. I'm your host, LG, and we're going to continue. We're going to continue with this State of the Roster series, with the third installment. We're going to talk about these DBs. We're going to get into the secondary. We're going to cut right into the chase and deal with this secondary. First of all, schematically, when you look at what Durante Jones, what we think he might want to do, and we can only speculate because, really, they don't want to give away what scheme they're going to run. It wouldn't be prudent to do so. Right now, it's unknown. Why give the offense, your opposing offenses, any chance to prepare for what you might do by giving them any clues? It don't make sense to give you anything. But what we can do is take a look at some defenses that he's coached under, see what some trends were with some of those teams that he coached under, and even more recently, what he did last year with the Minnesota Vikings. So we all think that, just keeping it real simple, he going to bring the house on the blitz. Meaning if 11 guys is on the field, you got that front seven coming, plus a couple safeties. He's going to make it look like he bringing the house, and he may bring the house. Or 5 or 6 may drop back. Which ones drop it back? Good luck figuring out who they are. That's the whole purpose of this defense. He gonna put them in position to where they line up to where you don't know and you don't have an idea who's coming and when they coming. Who's coming and when they coming. And the secondary is gonna be heavily involved in that. All right, safety's gonna be blitzing. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a couple of cornerback blitzes mixed in with that. So the secondary is going to be in on that blitzing, in on that aggressive style, in on that going downhill style of playing defense in the National Football League, what you saw out of the Minnesota Vikings last year. When they played against us, man, hey, it was curtains. They pitched a shutout. One of the better offensive displays in football. They pitched a shutout, the Minnesota Vikings did against us. So that's probably what Dan Quinn and them seen was like, yo, we need one of those. And by one of those, what I mean is one of them schemes where if you really look at it, the Vikings, they don't dominate personnel wise. They really don't. Personnel wise, it's really not that daunting a task when you look at who you lining up against personnel wise. But that scheme, man, that scheme really put those guys in position to make plays. So we don't know exactly what scheme we're going to see, but we think in base is going to be a 3-4 defense, meaning three defensive tackles on the line of scrimmage, and for the 4 linebackers behind them. That's the front seven, three defensive linemen, 4 linebackers behind them. Then you got that secondary, which we talking about right now. That's cornerbacks, one on the left side, one on the right side. But what we think is going to happen is they're going to be playing a lot of zone. Their cornerbacks going to be playing a lot of zone. They got some guys who seem like they would really flourish in a zone coverage type defense. And so we all think that's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be sitting in the house, and the guys that's going to be dropping back in the zone coverage, watching the quarterback eyes, trying to key in on some tails so they can get jumps on footballs. Make plays at the ball, even at the line of scrimmage, all that. So that's what we think schematically is going to happen. Now, personnel, who they got that's going to come in and, really fill in those positions from a and really put on a professional display. Who they got, man? Let's start with corner. Mikey. I think one of the reasons why it starts with Mikey because of the expectations. Right around that second round, there was some calls for us to take Cooper DeJean, and what we did was we traded down with the Eagles, and we got a few more picks out of it. We got Ben Sinnott, we got Mikey Sandestrill, cornerback out of Michigan. Now, one of the things that happened when we picked them was you had the likes of former Alabama coach Saban talking about that might be his favorite pick of the draft. favorite pick of the draft in 2024. Mikey Sandestrill. That's the year we picked Jaden Daniels. He's talking about favorite pick, not favorite Commander's pick. He said his favorite pick of the draft, Mikey Sandestrill. Mind you, he did make plays at Michigan. But one of the things that happened with his career at Michigan was he came in as a receiver. He ain't even really been doing this DB thing that long. So he still had a lot to learn, but he made plays. And he was a big-time leader on a national championship team. Really, so the expectations coming into Washington, it was pretty high. And then on his rookie season, he had a lot of turnovers, made a lot of plays, contributed a lot to winning. So the natural thing was that he was going to take the next jump in season number 2, and it really didn't happen. Let's just be honest, it really didn't happen. All right. His play was up and down. He still made some plays as far as turnovers and just playmaking ability, but he got beat an awful lot of times. Awful lot of times. I don't have the X's and O expertise to tell you if what my eyes saw meant that every time it looked like he was getting beat and it was his fault. I don't have the expertise behind me to really confirm that, or maybe somebody else was out of position, or what the situation, the circumstances was, but it looked like he had a drop off, regression type season. Hopefully he can bounce back, man. Sandestrill. Now, everybody's excited about Trey Amos. He was a rookie last year, come out of Mississippi. Nice length for a Dan Quinn corner, 6'1". He played pretty good too, up until, he got hurt. So hopefully he can come back, shake off the injury, really solidify his position as, the hope is that he really takes a hold of that number 1 corner position. But again, if they're playing a lot of zone, what is number 1? But if you got Sandestrill on one end, Trey Amos on another end, Amik Robertson is very intriguing. Tough bulldog type dude. Everybody talking about how his mentality is really his superpower because physically he's very small in stature. Coming out of Detroit, he's very strong, was very small in stature. He struggled last year against some of the NFL's best, but they put him out there on that island, which might not be his strength. His strength is not really out there on that island. It's kind of doing what we gonna ask him to do. Watch the quarterback eyes, make plays, play some good sound zone defense, and make some plays out of that. Maybe if the pass rush get home, get the quarterback to making some untimely decisions, throwing some things up there that some DBs can get their hands on. He's very competitive in that regard. So Amik Robinson, he might be end up being, a very, very, very good addition in that secondary. But I'm gonna go ahead and spit out a couple more names coming, as far as depth is concerned. But the rest of the corners don't know if they're gonna make the team. Fred Davis, Carlin Vigors, Darius Rush, Witherspoon, Antonio Hamilton Sr., and Trey Hawkins. Whoever them dudes are. If they become household names because somebody got hurt and they came in and solidified their position and made themselves into household names, all power to them. I appreciate them. As long as they're getting it done in the burgundy and gold, I'm going to be a fan of theirs. But we know if they come in the game and play significant minutes, it's because they playing went awry in some type of way. And by they, I mean the skin's brass. That thing went awry some type of way. If them dudes come in and play big time minutes. Now let's move on to that safety position. Let's move on to that safety position in that DB room. I'm excited about it. Will Harris, he showed you what he could do last year. Big talk. And when I say talk, I don't mean talking smack. I'm talking what you need. What you need out of a safety out there is big time communication among the teammates. They can see more than most. Hopefully he watching this film. I got a feeling he is. He was very vocal last year. You could see the drop off. In that Giants game, it looked like they was a lot more organized, this and that. And then when he went down to injury in that Green Bay game, their defense really changed. It really changed when he went down in injury. Will Harris. But who I'm really excited about, I'm talking about ear to ear excited about and might end up being a top 5 safety in the league is Nick Cross out of Maryland. He coming home. And he coming home with some motivation. The Commanders was his team growing up out of University of Maryland. But not just that, he's got some size. He got 6'1", 212. Has shown his ability to make plays, but has proven itself to be a real tough, hard-nosed defender. Plenty of pass defense, short tackler, nice big hitter, big-time athletic. I think Nick Cross is really going to end up being one of their better free agency pickups. And they got him for the cheap. And then as far as depth is concerned, and anytime you can have starters that they start a lot of minutes for you, play a lot of games for you, and they can come in and not really take up a lot of they can come in and end up being second and third string. That means your depth, your floor has really been raised, where guys who started a lot of games for you start backing up. That's when your floor is really raised, when you start to get more and more talent into the building. And so when you look at it, you got guys like Quan Martin, Tyler Owens, Percy Butler, household names from a Commander standpoint. Jeremy Reeves coming off the bench, whereas they played significant minutes in the past. If we can get them guys coming off the bench because we've got more talented guys in there already, that raises the floor and raises the ceiling, and who knows what we got. If they can just do just 50% better than what they did last year, which I think is in their grasp. If we could just eliminate those what in the world plays, those what in the world? What in the world's going on here? If we can eliminate those plays, that's going to go a long way into really significantly improving the defense. And I'm excited about it. I think their secondary is going to be formidable, and they're going to benefit from that pass rush getting home, which I think from a schematic standpoint is really, really going to be one of the strengths of our defense, is that pass rush getting home. And that's going to do nothing but benefit the back end, that secondary. And I think we have the guys that's capable of sitting back, reading the quarterback eyes, and catching the football and making plays. I think we're going to lead the league in interceptions. Because we're going to lead the league in sacks. You heard it here. We're going to lead the league in interceptions because we're going to lead the league in sacks. Why do those things relate to each other? Because as you start to really present yourself as having a formidable pass rush to the point where you're leading the league in hitting the quarterback and sacking the quarterback, well, that quarterback's going to feel that kind of pressure. And he's going to think he don't have the kind of time that he thought he had. So even when that pass rush might not even get all the way home, he going to be in a rush to let go of that football because he's been hit too many times. And when he let go of that football prematurely, he let go of that football in a manner in which it's kind of up for grabs. That's when our DBs come in and show what type of athleticism, what type of football knowledge, what type of clutch ability they have in making the catch, securing the football for us, and sometimes taking it back even for the score. Other times setting us up in outstanding field position. But I think from a secondary standpoint, I think we got the guys to get done what we need to get done. All right. Sandestrill on the outside with Troy Amos, Mikey in the slot, sometimes on the outside as well, is a very formidable trio as it relates to the cornerbacks. And then you got Will Harris and Nick Cross at the safety position. Quan Martin coming off the bench. Tyler Owens, Percy Butler, Jeremy Reeves. I think we in good hands secondary-wise. Tell me what y'all think. And I think that defense is going to be tremendously improved overall. We already went over the front seven. We showed you what you think about that. We just went over the back end, the secondary. That concludes the defense. The defense is going to be much improved this year. They're going to go from being one of the worst defenses in the league to at least top, I'm going to say top 12 defense in the league. And if they can make that kind of jump like that with the kind of offense I think they're going to have, then we in for a heck of a season. But tune in with me on the next installment of State of the Roster the next installment of State of the Roster, where we discuss another room, and that would be that backfield. We're gonna combine our backfield as far as how we gonna cover it, which is the offensive backfield is the quarterback and the running back. So we're gonna get into the quarterback room and we're gonna get into that running back room on the next installment of State of the Roster here on Skins in the Berg podcast. Peace out. Talking about them killers, but only on the grid run. Touchdowns big time, hands off my Jaden Daniels jersey, you can't free mine. Yeah, skins in the bird, skins in the bird.